The following video is one in a series on spiritual resilience training, a non-religious view of personal values and their dynamics with others. The contents reflect a variety of principles and practices of systems theory and relational counseling for team building and family resilience. Although the series is intended to support Army Corps values, each video also encourages the viewer to reflect on their current prominent values in specific situations and to consider what values may be more appropriate to means and results that are honorable and helpful with others. Chaplain Dillard initiates creating and posting these videos. Their contents and YouTube's linked videos do not necessarily reflect specific beliefs, practices, requirements, or endorsements of the Department of Defense, its subordinate organizations, or other groups with which Chaplain Dillard is affiliated.
Welcome back. Today we're talking about the significance of mixed emotions. Now, if you've seen some of the earlier series, you know that we've covered competing emotions and conflicting emotions. Those are different things. Conflicting emotions, as I was defining them, are emotions within us that tend to pull us in different directions. I feel sad about something and I want to draw back toward that thing that I believe I'm losing, that value. Or I'm angry about something and I want to draw forward to attack an injustice, or I'm fearful, so I want to go around a threat to something I value. But those are all conflicting within me and pulling me in different directions, often about different things. Different types of values may be in the same relationship or the same context at the moment. Competing values, as I defined in the previous video series, is when we're in a relationship with somebody else, can be family, friend, work, or other, and something that they value seems to be in conflict with something that we value, and so it feels like we're butting heads. This is something entirely different. Mixed emotions can be generally about one thing, and we'll go into details in a moment, but I might feel bad, mad, sad, and glad about it, and that can be confusing sometimes. How do I process this? We're not being pulled necessarily about different things or toward different people, but considering the same relationship or the same task, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, we have a lot of different feelings about it. And it's important for us to realize that can be a reality, and we're going to go into why that is and what that is right now. First, we need to be aware of the significance of mixed emotions. Without self-awareness about this, we risk running on autopilot in ourselves, and we have no development of what I call C3 IRA, our value of care, our value of commitment, control, integrity, recognition, and or acceptance. These 6 values are identified in a very long study by the University of Denver, and I'll put up some of the information on that most of us generally have a desire for or a value of, and it may not be all those things equally, but some of them we tend to value more than others, and if we get down to the bottom of the heart of the issue, it's usually one of these 6. But when we're struggling with mixed emotions, we don't always process all of the emotions to really discern what is it I'm valuing, and then therefore we go on autopilot. We react based on whatever emotion is most comfortable to us, based on whatever path is easy for us, based on whatever support might seem most available to us. But we need to be able to be self-aware of the many things that we may be feeling and how those relate to different things we might value, specifically those 6. As I mentioned before, in contrast to conflicting emotions, mixed emotions can stem from one concern. Generally, it is either a value about a relationship, or a belief about that relationship, or a value about a responsibility or a task, or a belief about that responsibility or task. Now, I just mentioned 4 things, and I said it was about one thing. Let's divvy that up a little bit. It is about one thing typically. It could be that one thing is a relationship, or it could be that one thing is a responsibility or a task that we have. And usually, it is either a belief about that task, or a value about that task, or a belief about that relationship, or a value about that relationship. Take C3 IRA, for example. Let's take the issue of commitment. I might have the value that this person should be committed to me, or I should be committed to them, and I'm really feeling a lot of different things about that, because that brings to mind a time investment, which can be scary to me. That brings to mind the potential of greater closeness, which might bring a lot of joy or gladness in me. That can mean that I have to give up some time or other projects and priorities I have in my life. That could bring about some anger. There's a lot of things I might feel about that task or that relationship, depending on how I think it would impact my value of commitment. Same thing with any of the other values in C3 IRA. Now, each value or belief is also filtered inwardly through our historic experience of emotion. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, as I said, we have 4 basic emotions: bad, meaning fear or guilt; mad, sad, and glad. And we tend to emphasize the emotion for which we were historically rewarded. We tend to avoid the emotion or emotions that were neglected. We tend to suppress those that were rejected. And sometimes we overemphasize those that were neglected or rejected. Now, let's think about that for a minute. As I've said in many videos about emotional intelligence, emotion is what drives our behavior. We might say that it's information, or it's resources, or it's our boss's priority, or it's the need in our family, but it's really how we feel about those things, because our emotion is like the fuel in our body. And if we're not ramped up about it, excited or scared or sad or mad, or if there's not some energy about that, it's probably not going to get done. So emotion is the fuel, which comes from how we perceive it, our beliefs, but we can track that back to what we value, what the value is. However, just like some cars run very well on a certain octane of gas, other cars run on batteries, other cars are hybrids, other cars aren't very fuel efficient and have issues, really need to have their engine cleaned out, maybe some fuel cleaned out. All of us don't have an equal ability or desire to use all of our emotions equally well. As I just mentioned, some things in our past, some emotions in our past were rewarded and some weren't. It might be very popular in your family of origin, in your culture, to be angry. When I say popular, meaning that that was rewarded. Or to be kind of down and sad and to admit and talk about the difficulties of life, or to be very up, or to be more nervous and more careful. Whatever was reinforced is what we tend to be more comfortable in, that particular emotion. Others, especially our family of origin and our subculture, wherever we grew up, those were neglected. They weren't really rejected, they just didn't spend a whole lot of time. It's a waste of time being sad. Just got to make it happen, get going. Why are you so happy? We've got work to do. We don't have time to sit and chit-chat and have a good time. Let's get the job done. Or anger is only going to get somebody else riled up. Don't go there. Let's keep the peace. There's a lot of emotions that can be neglected in our family of origin, in our subculture, and therefore we tend to neglect those in our current lives as well. And you can take that to other extremes of emotions that are rejected in our family of origin or subculture. Sometimes we suppress those and we really fight against them. Other times we swing the pendulum the very opposite way and we overemphasize those. But the key is we cannot run on autopilot and just do what we feel, because then we're really not in control making conscious decisions for what is honorable and helpful in the moment, within ourselves and in that relationship for the greater good. Each value or belief is also filtered outwardly through our historic expression of actions. And these are 4 attachment styles or relational styles. A secure personality or secure attachment mainly experienced acceptance with nurture and discipline within their family and their subculture. An avoidant or fearful personality or attachment style mainly experienced forms of abuse, and so they avoid. An anxious or insecure or unsure personality style or attachment mainly experienced unpredictable mixes of punishment, sometimes nurture, sometimes discipline, sometimes neglect. You never knew what was coming. And a detached or dismissive avoidant personality or attachment style mainly experienced neglect. So there are 4 attachment styles or 4 personality types of how we have historically expressed our values and beliefs in relationship, and that gets filtered too in how we're going to process emotions and values. So we need to take an honest look at ourselves and maybe get some really close friends that we trust to talk to us and say, how do you see me? Am I more of a secure person? And that's not the same thing as confident, because sometimes we can give an appearance of confidence because we're really avoidant. We don't want to get into deeper conflict or greater intimacy, because that would be uncomfortable for us because we didn't experience that growing up and we don't know what to do with it. So the appearance of confidence is not the same thing as secure attachment. Secure attachment can give or receive love, give or receive criticism, can be open and listen and not talk at all, can talk and advise the person. They are flexible and strong in a great variety of things because they've experienced nurture and discipline within the family and the subculture, and so they have a wide range of capabilities. Dismissive or avoidant or detached, much less capable, much less willing to process that range of emotion and range of action. And there's a spectrum. If you look at it as a secure person, kind of in the middle, able to do many things left or right, dismissive or detached or avoidant would be further out to the extremes of that, and that's based on their experience. The question is, what is H2O? What is honorable and helpful to my organization? I've mentioned this in several videos. We individually are organizations of people. We, not many people, not multi-personality, but many things. We value some things, and therefore we believe some things about what's happening to that value in relationships. So we are also in relationship with people. Then we have emotions about that context, and then we take action. So we are constantly, these 5 things interplaying organizationally or systemically within us. We are also parts of organizations. We're parts of families, we're parts of work teams, we're parts of neighborhoods, we're parts of social settings, many types of organizations. And we have to ask ourselves the question, what is honorable and helpful to our organization? As a person, organizationally, those many things within us, or in relationships with others. Otherwise, we fly on autopilot. And ask ourselves the question, who do I trust to help me grow in my thirst for C3IRA? Care, commitment, control, integrity, recognition, and or acceptance. Acceptance is really the mother of all the other 5, because when we have that security that even though the person across from us might not accept us, we are acceptable. We accept ourselves. We know that we have inherent value, and therefore we can give love, give criticism, receive criticism, talk, listen. We have a wide variety of abilities and willingness in our behaviors. Next week we'll take a look at what wrong can look like when we're on autopilot and we have mixed emotions about a particular task or relationship. And then the next week we'll look at what right can look like when we process that full range of mixed emotions. And I hope you'll join us then.
At the release date of this video, I am stationed with Research Development and Engineering Command, RDECOM, at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland. Because the majority of our personnel are in this area, I spend most of my time here. I do, however, travel to our distant units based on command priorities and budget. I place these videos on YouTube for broad visibility to Army personnel and their families, but I hope the videos will be helpful to others too. If you are assigned to RDECOM and want to request specific topics by video, training on site or by VTC, or confidential counseling on site or by secure webcam, you can contact me at jeffrey.d.dillard.mill@mail.mil.